Hey guys, my name is John, and today we're going to be explaining how photo restoration and colorization works. In today's example, we're going to be using Adobe Photoshop version. Oh, wrong one. We're going to be using Adobe Photoshop version 2.6.8.1. And as our primary example of photo, we're going to be using President Abraham Lincoln. Now, we're going to touch base on how cleaning up images usually work. Now, back in the day when I first did photo restoration, I used to go in by hand and used the patch tool, and I would just kind of circle over, patch in areas, and that worked really well. It was very tedious. Even at the time, it was very tedious, but it worked very, very well, especially for what I had. So if I needed to remove grain on his head, it worked. Here, take one there. It worked very well, but it was very tedious, especially when you did large chunks like this and you want to go copy over. Sometimes it would be a little funky, even if you changed it to normal. Sometimes it looked a little off. You knew there was something weird about it. But I'm going to show you something that Photoshop has added on their new program. Now, if you go back over on the left side, it should be under the area where the patch tool is as well. Right above it, there is the healing brush tool, and right above that is the remove tool. It's basically the healing brush tool icon, but with sparkles on it. If you click that, you'll see you have all of these options up here. Now, I'm not one who actually likes AI generative stuff, AI programs, stuff that automates it for you, and it just looks weird and it doesn't look right and never looks, it doesn't look right. This tool, though, has kind of been my savior these past few times I've worked with clients. Let me just demonstrate for you guys. Just getting simple little things, clicking over it, and immediately realizes that's not supposed to be there. It's not supposed to be there. And it works so well. Now, if you want to, there you go. If you want to select numerous stuff, like let's say you want to do these, but you don't really want it to disappear, up here you can see where it says remove after each stroke. You can tick that, and it allows you to punch in multiple times. And then when you're ready to render it, you click enter, and then it'll render them away. But it's really mainly preference if you want to do that. It also helps on hardware as well, depending on which one you choose. So we're just going to kind of go over real quickly. Now that we're finished with restoring the photograph, we're going to come over here to the layers area. We're going to add a new layer on top of the photo. Now with this layer, you're going to set it to overlay. The reason why we're going to set it to overlay is if we set it to normal and we just kind of draw over the image, we'll see that it's just going to draw over it. But if you set it to overlay, you'll see that it adds color to the image rather than drawing color over the image. So with that being said, we can take advantage of that and kind of add color to the image. So now that we added this layer on the right side and set it to overlay, we're going to start colorizing. Now with this right here, this little tie, I forget what they call it, but we're just going to call it a tie or a little bow because it's pretty much what it is, or an ascot, it don't matter. But we're going to kind of guess, and I'm going to say that, it's kind of a lightish blue color. I feel like Mr. Lincoln himself kind of digged different colors over the years, and, he's a pretty cool guy. So we're going to add a little bit of blue to it. And there's different ways you can color over items in the photo. Me, I like to just draw over with it and then erase any of the bridges that go on the outside. But with other people, you feel free to highlight, use a polygonal mask or anything, kind of like this, kind of a little rough example. And then once you have the seams, only the colors will color within the seam. You don't got to worry about it going on the outside. But I like to play differently, so we're just going to kind of remove the excess that's leaking on the outside. Okay. All right. It looks pretty good so far. Nice. Got some color to the image. Now the next step we're going to do is I'm just going to keep on the same layer just so we don't get cluttered with a lot of layers. We're going to color in his little chain. Now, it looks like it would be gold, and a lot of the images that I've seen of other people colorizing this image is said, it was kind of a gold color. So we're going to kind of go with a little bit of a goldish kind of color. So that looks good. Kind of lower the size of the brush and begin to paint over said image. Pretty good. Now we have color to the chain, a little gold chain. Now, it is said he wears black, but we're going to get a little different with it. We're going to make a new layer, set it to overlay, and we're going to kind of do a dark kind of navy blue. Let's say like a little darker than that. Yeah, let's do something like that. Perfect. Just so we can show off our, our skills in colorizing the image. Show this to like your teacher and so be like, hey, look, I made Lincoln's shirt or his coat dark navy blue. So we're going to do that now. Now we're going to take the size of the brush, adjust it, just mask over it. All right, so far so good. We have his coat all nice and colored up. It's very nice shaded blue. As you can see, it looks very natural. Looks like it's actually there in the image. It's very good. Next, we're going to be coloring the chair. And now the chair, making another layer as well. Set it to overlay. And chair, it's wood. Make it like a brown. Nice. Now, next one we're going to do is the table. And again, the table is brown, but we're going to make it a little bit of a different brown, like a darker brown. And then the book, let's make it like a green. Now we got our table in the green book. Now, next we're going to be touching up is the skin and his hair and his eyes, his lips, and just every facial feature and hand features. Now, Lincoln is white, so when it comes to white skin tones, you can come down here to the bottom red, orange. You kind of want to get into like the peach area till you kind of get like this pinkish looking tone. And again, create a new layer, overlay, and we're just going to kind of experiment a bit, see what's a good tone we can find. I found a pretty decent skin tone. Now, when doing skin, there's multiple layers that we do because we have redness in our ears, our cheeks, around the bridges of our lips. Our lips are a different color. So we're going to be applying multiple layers of colors. Now, we're going to go on with the lips. Again, new layer, overlay. Lips are kind of a pinkish color, or like a pinkish, so we're going to kind of test around a bit, see what we can find. Next part we're going to do is work on the eyes. Now we're going to come back down to the skin layer, and what we're going to do is we are going to erase away some of the color in the eyes so we can expose kind of the whiteness of your eyes. Now here is a before and after of the image. After a little bit of fine tuning and color grading, we have ourselves the final product. If you guys enjoy these kind of tutorials, please let me know in the comments below, and I will be sure to make other type of tutorials like this in Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, and many other programs. As always, thank you guys for watching and have a great day.